Leo, okay, good news. The opposition to Mars is over, so the danger, threat, or any kind of risk to injury by the end of this weekend, say by Saturday, Sunday, it's over. But you could still be dealing with the consequences from or recovery from whatever happened to you or whatever you're going through. We're going to get into it. Leo, this is your weekly tarot card reading and astrology predictions from Born Without Boundaries Tarot. My name is Michelle and welcome to my tarot table. This is most definitely for Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. You can also check out your sun, moon, and rising sign because I do 12 videos every single week, 12 messages for you guys. There's always an extended reading, which I hope that you'll join me for, and I will conveniently attach those links above toward the end of the video, as well as attach them down below. You can always find them in the description box, and I'll put them to the top of the comment section. This reading is your reading, so it comes to you when you're meant to hear it, regardless of when the astrology reading was. It doesn't matter. What matters is the energy is going to reach you when you're ready to receive it. So even though the astrology I discuss is between, I think it's December 8th to December 15th, 16th, believe me when I say the message will come to you when you are ready to receive it. And please feel free to take it where it resonates. Yeah, if I'm describing something and it's sounding like it's involving your career and not your love life, that's because that's where it resonates. I mean, I don't know your natal chart, right? Like, where are all these things playing out in your houses? I don't know, so you're gonna have to tell me. Feel free to leave those comments below. Let's get into the astrology and then these tarot cards that I have in front of me, or actually oracle cards. So by Saturday, Sunday, the sun has been under a lot of stress. It has been in opposition to Mars, which can be quite a dangerous time because it's a very impulsive time. You're lacking energy because you're fighting so hard. It's like you're burning up your own energy, which makes you kind of susceptible and vulnerable. And the fact that Neptune was also square to the sun means you could be susceptible and vulnerable to risk, disease, infection, like things like that you've been facing lately, or even some sort of some hypochondria or paranoia, thinking like things are worse than it is, so overreacting. These are common when you're in this position, when the sun is in this position for you guys. So yeah, this Gemini full moon was particularly difficult for Leo. I mean, the moon is always in opposition to the sun during a full moon. That's what full moons are. But the fact that the moon was conjunct Mars, which means that the sun has been conjunct. Actually, the sun was in opposition to Mars for a while now. So I would definitely encourage you guys, even through this week, please take it slow. Don't push yourself into anything. It's actually better to go slower and take more relaxation this week than anything else. It's not necessarily the best time to, go on to Dr. Google, because you could really work yourself up into sort of a frenzy of worry that will stress you out. So what I really want you to be particularly gentle with this week is your energy levels and your susceptibility to believing things, because with that square to Neptune, and even during this week, you're going to be square to Jupiter as well. In fact, most of this week into next week, the primary influence on the sun is the square to both Neptune and Jupiter, I think with the tighter square being from Neptune. So it's almost like you want to expand, you want to grow, you want to get bigger, you're getting more engaged and more involved and maybe even more hopeful, but that could also lead you to being more vulnerable to people selling you tonic water, which is, fake people with that Neptune influence. That's just square to the sun. This will break toward the end of the month, but for right now, it is definitely something that you're dealing with. So primarily what you want to focus on this week is allowing yourself to breathe, allowing yourself to take space, allowing yourself to be content with the simpler things. With that square to Jupiter, you could also want to overspend or overpromise or feel like you have to prove yourself too much. And the bottom line is you fucking don't. You don't. You don't. Because I think the biggest deception is if I spend too much or do these big gestures, people will love me more. That is the biggest self-deception you could ever be under. People will love you for who you are. The people who love you for what you give them are not people who really love you. So that's definitely something that I think that you will be finding this week, is those impulses to do more than you should have to, as well as push yourself in ways that could actually make you sick. It is flu season. The big old vid is still out there. I've been telling especially you guys this though, because that Neptune square has been really freaking irritating. So please just take care of you. Self-care, self-love, and a reminder that people who love you do not need to be bought, and it doesn't need to be proven. Okay, so let's get into the cards. Here we go. Lordy, lordy, here we go. Co-create with spirit. That already tells me in reverse that you're in a mindset where you feel like you have to push things, or that you will be more likely this week to not be as in tune or receptive to what spirit has to tell you than you usually are. Like, you are usually very spiritual people, but you know, Neptune can fog a lot of things. So, well, squares to Neptune could fog a lot of things. So please understand that, you know, who you're hearing from or what's getting through for you may be more low vibrational than is really good for you. So don't trust anybody, but then you're going to be paranoid, right? No, this is just a sense of the what is it? Transmissions are not necessarily clear. So is it a great time to jump to conclusions? No, though you will be prone to. Is it a good time to believe what you hear? No, and you will be more prone to believing the wrong thing, like getting your wires crossed, believing the wrong things, which are probably over-promising you too much, versus not hearing people when they're trying to be supportive and how they're trying to love you. So this is ultimately sort of your wires are crossed this week, and I can say it's probably for this next week and a half when those squares to Jupiter and Neptune persist. So take it slow and stick to what you know. We have the trust the magic. So interestingly enough, Crow is in reverse, but white crow is here. So there is new perspectives. So this is creativity, creating something new. If you're going to get lost in the world of your mind, you might as well use it to your advantage and just allow yourself to create. And yes, I do mean give yourself some quiet space, some quiet time. A good place to expel this energy is in a drawing, in a notebook, by writing, by doing something, by using your creative energy and your creative self. Know that if you are creative in a way that could cause injury, which usually a pencil can't, but you know, if you carve things or do anything that could be, you know, if you use machinery of any sort, just be very, very wary of that right now, because there can be malfunctions. Listen, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom. I'm your astrologer. I'm your tarot card reader. Know that this is something you could be up against this week. So if you can, kind of be more gentle with yourself and err on the side of caution. Act as if this is chameleon. So blending or trying to blend. That's what's upright. And honestly, what it's saying is you could get a whole new perspective by just doing what Leos usually don't do, which is blending and not trying to be the star in the room or the primary attention. You're going to pick up a lot of information and see a lot of things, because it's a perspective, it's a perspective that you don't usually take. Right? It's like you can't help but shine. But right now, your shine is naturally dulled. And instead of trying to resist it, assume the position and listen and open yourself up, because there is some sort of magic that you are going to notice and see where you would never have normally seen it. You've not normally in this position. And so being in this position can be quite magical, because it's opening you up to a whole different perspective. It's almost like if an elephant all of a sudden went through that shrinking machine and became the size of an ant. And even though the world gets a lot more dangerous, It's only dangerous because it's still trying to be an elephant. If it accepts its size, it can start to see a whole new world open up for it. This is a perspective. This is a chance to get to see the world through a lens that you don't normally. And then here, there is always enough. This is Piscean energy, which means there's always dreams. There's always emotions. Also, there's always enough money. Maybe there is a confrontation here with a change in finances or fortune that used to be so abundant, and now it's like, hey, I used to have all this, now I only have this. But does that really diminish who I am? Does that diminish my value? Or can I just in accepting this different position that I'm in, realize I'm still enough, and that the people who care about me and love me will always think that way? So this could be definitely a time when you are clearly able to discern who values you or where your value really lies. And then we have time to let go, which is in reverse. You weren't able to, you were holding on. I think you were holding on to this old set of value where you're trying to hold on to your spending habits or trying to be who you were in the past, when in reality, that is not what's happening now. There's a newness here that is asking you to be more subdued right now as you get your new legs on, your shaky legs. Like, think of Bambi when Bambi was just born. This is a sense of getting those legs on, you know, trying to learn how to walk in this new body over this new terrain. So there's kind of an adventure in this week, but it's more subtle and more quiet. Now let's get into more details. We're gonna go to the moon card. Since the moon really did catalyze all of this, that full moon in Gemini, I think, released a lot of hounds that are maybe just catching up with us. But we have the moon cards coming out in the future. So let's see. Your hard work is paying off. So basically, this is sort of the test period right now, because in not too far from now, especially when there is a new moon in Capricorn. Hold on. Let me think, because I know we have, hold on. Yes, we have a new moon in Capricorn that's coming on December 23rd. That's what I wanted to say. So it's saying your hard work is paying off. So what does your hard work have to do with this week? Your hard work is patience. Your hard work is faith. Your hard work is self-esteem. Oh yeah, even for you, Leo, it's going to be challenging. That's your hard work. But in not too distant future, by December 23rd, you will see it pay off. You will see that it's actually gotten you to some place that was new and that was so much better. It's like that vacuum you were being sucked into was trying to spit you out to where you belong. There's a scene from a movie where they resist and they resist and they resist being pulled in or being sucked in because they're scared, because all they know about this is that it's bad. But nobody's ever really gone in before. And ultimately, there's a sense of that is actually exactly where they needed to go in order to be pushed out to the other side where they really needed to be. And so that's kind of what this week feels like. And that's why faith is like your world is getting smaller. Your resources may be getting smaller, but it's because you're being pushed like icing through a tube. You're being compressed to be pushed out into something more beautiful. Think about that. Think about it like that. We now have the energy is gaining momentum. And remember, this is for this week. So this is what's happening and how you're feeling this week. It is a transitional period, but it's not going to be what you're experiencing forever. The energy is gaining momentum. So this is also new moon. You're talking about, you can feel something coming and you're going through that tube. It's almost like a birth canal. So the compression is really about being spit out on the other side, where you're a whole new version of yourself, or you're experiencing different things. The end of a tough cycle approaches. So this is a full cycle. And when these two cards, when full cycle cards come out, both the full moon and new moon of the deck, what I'm going to ask you, Leo, is On the Capricorn full moon, which happened in Cancer, in Cancerian season, which would have been about mid-July, what the hell were you doing? What the hell did you let go of? And what kicked off around that time? Because that's what's gonna get born. It's saying that cycle is finally completed, and you can finish, or you're starting something now that by this coming full moon in Capricorn, which is going to be mid-July 2023, the cycle begins now and it will come to fruition at that time. That's really interesting. I would assume it's probably the second choice because it's coming out in the future. So it's saying your hard work is paying off. This could be up to a 6-month cycle of what begins now. We're going to get into the details of what that is, and nothing is yet set in stone. So, you know, it hasn't been determined, and I think it's what you decide, and this is especially true with the Sun square Jupiter. How you react to the energy around you is everything is going to dictate what comes from it. So it could be the most fortunate time of your life, and it could be one of the greatest losses. And the difference is you. There's no other difference. This is not going to actually be dictated by God or by the universe. It's going to be dictated by you. So how do you react to this? Do you accept the humbling? Do you accept the newness? Do you accept the difference? Especially when it comes to your business or your financial growth, because that's sort of what Capricorn rules, things that you're building out into the world. What do you accept it? Do you accept being knocked down a few notches? Because you're not really. You're just being knocked into a different perspective in a different place so you can see more. So you can either look at this right now, current stage, as an adventure, or you could look at it as a curse. It really is up to you. But this cycle is going to maybe kick off something, especially if you get into your creative juices and you start to build something different at this time. You can see a lot of abundance that's going to come from it in the next 6 months. So let's see specifically what we're talking about here, right? Holy crap. Specifically what we're talking about is you've been engaged in a competition for finances or money or for expansion. And I think that your competition has really been sort of underhanded. Maybe been stealing shit from you, or they've been fucking around, or there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that there's no way that you can control. And the reason why you've been spinning your wheels is because you can't control it. So maybe this is the time that you should be led into, or allow yourself to go in a different direction and expand in a way or in a direction that will enable you or allow you to grow. Because there's sort of this closed-mindedness that's happening right now with the 4 of Pentacles and 5 of Wands. These are petty motherfuckers who don't want to change. They just want to sit there and be stuck on their little bitty money or whatever, however they've decided they are secure. So these are really petty, and that's why you're so tied up with all these rules, regulations, and restrictions. People trying to come for you and say, you can't do it this way, you can't do it this way, you can't do it this, because people are just too scared to grow and expand beyond their own safety zone. And that's what's really stealing all of your opportunities from you right now. It's been something that has been frustrating you, and it's confirmed. So the harder you grind your wheels, the more aggressive they're going to accuse you of being. So might as well don't grind the wheels at all. In fact, stop trying to drive in that direction at all, because honestly, that direction ain't going to get you nowhere. It's paved with ignorance. And that's, you don't want that. We have 2 of Swords. So now currently there is a sense of, okay, well, I don't know which direction to go in. Well, God's going to open up. That's what's opening up for you this week. It's almost like opening up the looking glass and sending you down to this hole. It's shrinking you because you'll never be able to see it through the perspective that you're looking at now. But you will be able to see it from this calmer, more gentle, and perhaps in your eyes, more diminutive perspective. But it's almost like that's the perspective that you need. So Leo, where is this leading? Like, wait, okay, stop. Okay, it's been keeping you up a long time. This is what it is, keeping you up at night. It's been stressing you out, or this represents you feeling kind of sick. Now, 8 of Wands and the Hierophant, while somebody else, maybe even a spouse, seems to be picking up. So also watch out for jealousy. You know, absolutely. There's 5 of Pentacles, so there's a loss of money, maybe a loss of income this week, or like I said, feeling like you've lost resources while somebody else seems to be kind of accelerating. This is a sense of the Hierophant. What does the Hierophant mean? Especially if you have a spouse, it could cause a lot of tension, or they could feel a lot of tension because some part of your income has slowed down, or they don't feel like you don't feel like you'll be able to provide the same way you used to. Well, you're not supposed to provide the same way you used to. You're supposed to provide in a different way. And how is that way? How is that way? 6 of Wands, victory and success by just being yourself. 10 of Swords. It's almost like the ways that you used to win are changing. Yeah, and that's kind of, I know, it's big. So how should Leo react to this? This is an industry change. There's no way that you can fix it, but you don't have to fix it. What you have to do is get inspired by what you see and maybe create some commentary around it, and just sort of be that chameleon or fly on the wall right now, looking at everything and observing. Observing is the way to go. This is also a sense of working your magic, or being the magician in the room. And what is going to come from that, from what we are creating? Are you creating something, Leo? Because it's creating something completely new. No, 8 of Swords. It seems like everybody is just rejecting you in some way. It feels like you're being left behind. But 3 of Wands and Ace of Cups is here. But there's love coming, or there's love coming from somebody that you felt you were left behind by, or that they abandoned you or rejected you. There's a sense of 3 of Wands means something is coming back to you, including Ace of Cups, which means love. So let's get into the extended, because I want a little bit more commentary on that. But Leo, what I'm trying to say is, it seems like investing in the future and not expecting a quick turnaround, but instead putting yourself forward, just paying it forward is going to pay off big time and bring that love back around. Especially this could be reuniting with a connection or love, or finding a love again that you loved, and it coming back around to you in this period of your life because you slowed down enough to fucking see it. This could be a romance love or something that you love to do. Let's get deeper. The link is below. I'll see you guys in the extended.